Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 987. Warehouse Clearance. After the greetings, everyone took their seats. Audrey swept her gaze across the third card of blasphemy placed beside Mr. Fool's right hand. She suddenly came to a realization that she had forgotten to obtain Roselle's diary entries from the psychology alchemists this week. "I've been caught up with the problem with Vin Rambus all week." Audrey, who felt that she had already brightened up, instantly felt a little melancholic. At this moment, Katla had looked towards the seat of honor at the end of the long model table. She bowed her head and said, "Honorable Mr. Fool, I haven't received any Roselle diary entries this week as well. Queen Mystic hasn't provided any of the Emperor's diary entries for 2 consecutive weeks. Did something happen?" Leisurely sitting in his high-backed chair, the Fool Klein felt somewhat puzzled as he couldn't help but have pessimistic thoughts. However, he swiftly denied this possibility because Ma'am Hermit didn't show any anxiety or concern. With the way Admiral of Stars presents herself as a fledgling in need of her mother in the dream world in the ruins of the Battle of God, she definitely wouldn't be this calm if Queen Mystic doesn't reply to her for 2 consecutive weeks. Her anxiety might even prompt her to seek the Fool's help. That also means that she has received a reply from Bernadette in the past 2 weeks, but none of Roselle's diary entries were provided. Klein nodded gently and replied Katla calmly, "No hurry." After saying that, his thoughts raced as he began analyzing the reason for Bernadette's actions. First, Klein eliminated the possibility that she no longer had any more Roselle diary entries. Combining the frequency at which the Emperor wrote diary entries, he surmised that the compiled diary would exceed 10 standard books. Even if Bernadette only had a third of that, she was definitely capable of producing 1 or 2 books. In addition, the diary entries she had previously provided were just a tiny minority which touched on crucial intelligence. Second, Klein didn't believe that Queen Mystic had gained the entire truth from the answers he had given. Finally, he was also certain that she couldn't decipher the simplified Chinese she had in hand from the tidbits of feedback she received. After all, he didn't give a detailed translation, but vague answers comprising of a few words. Combining all 3 points, he suspected if the diary entries Bernadette planned on providing next would be even more important. They were more key and pointed to a certain secret or extremely special, questions that made one unsure if they wanted to know the answer. Thus, this Queen Mystic was presently in a dilemma. It's likely the case. I wonder what the Emperor will write about. Besides, how is Bernadette able to know the importance of the entry? I should remember to get Ma'am Hermit to pass on my requests. While in thought, Alger had already turned to look at Leonard. "I apologize. There's still no news of mystical items that meet your request at the moment." "That's very normal." "That's right. Mystical items from sequence 5 and 6 aren't common to begin with." Leonard nodded in understanding. He was originally sitting very straight, but when he found that the moon and the magician weren't so uptight, he also relaxed, relieving the straightening of his back. Upon seeing this, Klein controlled the world Gehrman sparrow and said with a hoarse voice, "I have a mystical item that suits your requests in various aspects. It's just that it has quite a number of negative effects that make it difficult to avoid. Do you want to consider it?" He was referring to the Word of the Sea. Klein had never had the intention of selling this item that almost required sealing to Leonard, as he felt that his dear poet friend couldn't withstand the negative effects of Word of the Sea. The belting of songs that didn't discriminate between ally or foe, the trait of tripping the wielder, or the flaw of being prone to lightning strikes weren't easily avoided. Klein was only able to use it by teaching the Word of the Sea above the grey fog a good lesson, and having Winner and Uni wield it to not be affected. He had even converted the flaws into something that could aid him. However, after considering how Leonard had a sequence 1 Marauder Pathway angel parasitizing him, Klein had the feeling that Leonard might have the means to resolve the problem. Therefore, he ultimately made an inquiry. "Oh, tell me about it." Leonard believed that Klein wouldn't scam him, so he expressed his intentions of getting to know the exact situation. The world Gehrman sparrow glanced at the hangman and said slowly, "It can release lightning on a target. He roughly described the beyonder powers of the word of the sea and the negative effects, leaving Leonard somewhat enticed despite frowning. It can actually be used as a staff to allow me to fly. Even at Sequence 5 Spirit Warlock, I'll need to seek out a suitable spirit before I can fly. Besides, the offensive strength really is formidable. There are quite a number of traits. But the 3 negative effects are quite terrifying. I'll return to ask Old Man to see if he has any means to reduce the negative effects. Leonard pondered for a few seconds before saying, I'll take some time to consider it. How about I give you an answer next week? No problem, the World Gehrman Sparrow replied without any hint of surprise. As for the other members, even if they were interested in the beginning, all of them gave up the thought of inquiring about the price once they heard the negative effects that the word of the sea possessed. At this moment, the fool Klein's mind was focused on another matter. He was wondering if he should take this opportunity to do a warehouse clearance sale. He had advanced to Sequence 4, and after becoming a demigod, many of the items and characteristics he had before were no longer of much use. I can keep Creeping Hunger. I should keep it just for traveling alone. In addition, it can graze one Sequence 4 saint. It has room for further growth. Furthermore, the combination of the various beyonder powers it has is pretty good. The value of death. Nell is no longer that great, but after activating lethal attack mode, the damage it does on a fixed target exceeds that of air cannon. At the very least, I can still use it at Sequence 4. Yes, it also has room for growth. The first 2 items that surfaced in Klein's mind were the 2 items he frequently used. From his point of view, as long as he obtained more powerful bullets, he could produce terrifying effects with Death Knell. The only problem was that such bullets were equivalent to high-level charms, nothing that could be easily found. Even if he sought out the materials to make them himself, he had to consider the chances of success when praying to some high-level existence, or if it was possible for there to be a backlash. On this aspect, Klein came up with a few plans: pray to the goddess, request Snake of Mercury will Septon to provide help, go through Leonard to get Pallas Zoros help, use the powers of the mysterious space above the gray fog, and also get Leonard to make a trip back to Tingen under the guise of a mission, so as to steal some of the powers of the eternal blazing sun's divine blood from 3-0782. The mutated sun's sacred emblem. Flaring sun bullets are definitely the nemesis of creatures like evil spirits. I have some idea on how to use the materials via borrowing the power of the mysterious space above the gray fog. Amon's worms of time can be used to make Lux siphon charms. My worms of spirit can also be made into beyonder bullets. As for how it can be done, I'll need to ask Pallas Zoros. Klein began anticipating the upcoming chat with Leonard. Worm of Spirit was the name he gave to those transparent maggots. Following that, he began considering the other items and characteristics. Sun Brooch? I currently lack such powers and items. Although I can use the control over spirit body threads to deal with evil spirits, I can keep it and allow my paper angel to have one more additional change. Besides, I can also lend it to Danitz from time to time. Flower of Blood? I can't sell it. The Tarot Club doesn't have any Aurora Order members. I'll continue letting my marionette use it. Having one additional life is one additional hope. Green Essence? I can sell this. I can transfer my ailments already. Creeping Hunger also has a Dr. Grazed. Murloc Cufflink? There's no need for this either. If I have a sudden need for its powers, I can transform into a huge fish. And in the long term, I can just head above the gray fog to use Sea God's Scepter to augment myself with the effects. Broken Finger? I wonder if anyone would want it. Besides, I haven't fully investigated why the rat demigod was sealed. It might be of use. I have 1 purifying bullet, 6 demon hunting bullets, and 2 exorcism bullets left. I'll just randomly use them. There's no need for me to sell them. Biological poison bottle? Sigh, I haven't been able to sell it all this time. Blatherer's Aura? This can be used to make charms or bullets. I'll temporarily not sell it. But herein lies the problem: am I to pray to the dark side of the universe? That can be struck off the list of options. I'll see if there are any replacement plans in the future. An interrogator beyonder characteristic, a lunatic beyonder characteristic, 15 milliliters of 1,000-faced hunter's blood, 40 grams of spirit world plunderer powder, an eyeball of a 6-winged gargoyle. Tarot Club members have no need for these. I might be able to reward the believers of Sea God or the resistance in Worsted Archipelago. As these thoughts flashed across his mind, Klein quickly made a decision. As for items which were at least at the demigod level, such as the Sea God's scepter, Grozel's travels, the giant king's court key, he didn't consider selling them. Then, he made the world Gehrman Sparrow say, "I have 2 mystical items for sale. Their levels are relatively low." Katla immediately replied, "A low level doesn't mean it's useless. Many low sequence Beyonders powers can even turn the tides of battles involving sequence 5 Beyonders. I'm rather interested in knowing the detailed situation of those 2 mystical items." Klein nodded gently and described the uses and flaws of Murloc Cufflink and Green Essence. After he was done, he said, "Murloc Cufflink for £500, Green Essence for £1,000. Just as he said that, Audrey raised her arm. "I wish to buy the Murloc Cufflink." She actually wished to say that she wanted both. After all, the 2 mystical items have extremely minor negative side effects. However, considering how others might have their needs, she found it inappropriate for her to take them all. Audrey finally decided to only take Murloc Cufflink. This could provide her a layer of illusory scales, preventing her from being easily caught. And more importantly, she didn't know how to swim. This could effectively make up for her weakness. As for the heat and the dry weather easily causing fatigue, she wasn't too worried about it. This was because, be it in Eastchester County or Backland, the temperature seldom exceeded 30 OC. The humidity was also rather high. Seeing Miss Justice having her eyes on Murloc Cufflink, the other members wisely gave up without raising the price, allowing the trade to quickly come to an end. Following that, Alger bought the Green Essence ring. To him, although the water domain had certain restorative spells, they were inferior to a dedicated item. As a Beyonder who often had to engage in melee battles, it was of great importance. As for attracting mosquitoes, Alger wasn't bothered. This was because he had illusory scales beneath his skin, preventing him from being afraid of bites. After the transaction segment came to an end, Emlyn cleared his throat and asked a question.